Imagine a situation that no parent should ever face. Your child's life hangs in the balance, and the one person who can save them is the same person you swore you'd never speak to again. What if your ex-partner holds the key to a critical medical procedure and they're refusing it? This isn't just a story about a bad breakup. It's a gut-wrenching ethical and legal battle where a child's future is caught in the crossfire. My world shattered the day the doctors gave us the news. It started with subtle, things-unusual fatigue, bruises that wouldn't fade. Then came the tests, the waiting, the sterile white rooms that started to feel like a prison. The diagnosis was a punch to the gut, a rare aggressive illness that was progressing faster than anyone expected. Suddenly, my life had only one purpose: find a cure, save my child. The doctors, with their kind but somber eyes, laid out the grim reality. There was a procedure, a chance, a life-saving transplant that could offer a future. But it came with an impossible twist. The donor needed to be a perfect genetic match. And after exhausting every other possibility, the search led to one person, my ex-husband, the man I hadn't spoken to in years. He was the only match. Our child's only hope required his cooperation, his consent, his very biology. Reaching out to him felt like reopening a wound I thought had scarred over. The memories of our bitter breakup came flooding back, the angry words, the slammed doors, the lingering resentment that had poisoned everything. But for my child, I had to try. I swallowed my pride, my pain, and made the call. It was a desperate plea, a mother begging for her child's life. I explained the situation, the urgency, the fact that he was the only one who could help. His silence on the other end of the line was deafening. He was torn. I could hear it in his voice when he finally spoke. He was battling his own demons, his own pain from our past. He wasn't sure he could do it. His reluctance was an agony I can't describe. It was a battle between his personal hurt and a profound moral obligation to the child we created together. He was weighing his past pain against our child's future. This is where our personal tragedy became a legal and ethical nightmare. We were plunged into a labyrinth of questions with no easy answers. What are a parent's rights and responsibilities in a situation like this? Can one parent be legally compelled to provide biological material to save their child, even if they refuse consent? I consulted lawyers, bioethicists, anyone who might have a shred of insight. I was walking a moral tightrope. Where do personal feelings end and the right to life begin? We discovered our situation was almost unprecedented. The legal system isn't really built to handle these deeply personal, medically complex family conflicts. There were no clear-cut laws to guide us, no simple precedents to follow. The weight of this decision rippled outwards, affecting everyone. Our families were torn, friends didn't know what to say, and my child was old enough to sense the tension, to know that something was deeply wrong. They knew they were sick, and they knew Mummy and Daddy were fighting, but they couldn't understand the life or death stakes of that fight. I was forced to confront the darkest question of all. What if he says no? What if his resentment is stronger than his connection to our child? The thought was a constant, crushing weight. The doctors had no alternatives. His refusal would be a death sentence. The long-term impact, no matter the outcome, would be devastating. If he agreed, could we ever truly move past this? If he refused, how could we as a family ever recover from that? This decision, whatever it was, would irrevocably change every relationship, every person it touched. In the midst of this crisis, we were urged to try mediation, to find a path forward. Could we sit in a room and navigate years of deep-seated emotional conflict to work towards a shared goal? Could we find a way to save our child without destroying what was left of our family? This brought up the idea of forgiveness. Not for his sake, or even for mine, but for our child's. Could I forgive him for the past? Could he forgive me? Could we set aside our personal grievances for something so much bigger than ourselves? This extreme, terrifying scenario forces a reflection on the very nature of love, sacrifice, and the messy, beautiful, and often painful complexities of human relationships. It asks what we are willing to do for the people we love, what lines we are willing to cross, and what it truly means to be a parent. When faced with the unimaginable, you discover a strength you never knew you had, and you fight. You fight with every fiber of your being for your child's future. Thank you for listening to this story. If you've ever faced an impossible choice, you know how isolating it can feel. Please subscribe for more stories that explore the deep complexities of the human heart. And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling, there is always help available.